Welcome. You have entered the Fan in the Van Zone, your go-to pod for your sports, entertainment, and independent wrestling fix. With over 22 years attending live events, visiting 24 states, over 200 professional wrestling matches, from WrestleMania to your local indie promotion, and also other sporting events with countless attractions. We have the knowledge to deliver who, what, where, when, and why you need to know. So sit down, buckle up. It's the Fan in the Van podcast, baby. And now off to the show. Well, hey there. Welcome to the second edition of Live Event Reviews. It's your boy, the Big Chi, and we're coming in hot with a little I Believe in Wrestling promotion at the Team Vision Dojo Arena down in the heart of Orlando, Florida. The arena's pretty cool. It's kind of, off the beaten path a little bit, back in the warehouse setting. Holds probably, I want to say 50 people without stacking them in there like sardines. This was a free show, a little preview event of what they have to offer. Being on a Tuesday, and they normally have their shows on Fridays, a couple weeks apart. There's only about 25 people watching this event. I personally have been to a handful of their events so far, 3 to be exact. And I want to say this one, that's probably the best one that I have witnessed. I just enjoyed the flow, had some good wrestling, some nice surprises. Just a overall solid free event. And, I mean, you can't beat free. A little bit about I Believe in Wrestling. Larry Zbyszko and Scott Hall kind of oversee the promotion. They've been around since 2008. They're getting ready to open a new facility down in Winter Park, Florida. So they're having a couple more events at the Team Vision Dojo here in Orlando, and then they're scooting down the road a little bit to a whole brand new spot, which I'm excited to see, because in the building they're at now, there's only 2 sides to the ring, and the other 2 sides are against the wall. So it'd be neat if the bigger place is like smack dab in the middle of in the middle of the room, so you can have all 4 sides and have 4 sides to work around, and have a nice feel to it, which I enjoy. Where they're at now, it's small setting, very intimate, nice echoes. It's enjoyable, but I'm excited to see what they're going to bring when they move down to Winter Park, which will be in March. They have 2 more shows at the Team Vision Dojo where it stands now, and then they'll be moving down there. I'm excited to see what that's going to entail. Going into the event, I got there a little bit early, about 15 minutes early. They had a conditioning class beforehand to see, if anybody wanted to come try out and, kind of get their feet wet a little bit of what professional wrestling training is about. And it's pretty cool just to see the tail end of that. It'd be awesome to go and watch the whole kit and caboodle. To sit back and just kind of watch and see what goes into training. At the Arnold Classic a few years ago, when NXT did it's like the NXT experience in Columbus, Ohio. They had a training session there. It was just leg kicks and doing the running around the ring and the conditioning and all that stuff that comes into wrestling. So it'd be cool to see what these guys do. So who knows, maybe I'll be able to sneak in there and watch a full-fledged show one of these days. But going right into the event, right after the training class wrapped up, we had a new announcer jump in. Last week, the old announcer aligned himself with one of the later competitors, Blake Banks. So we have a brand new guy in there, holding the microphone, interviewing people. Starts right off with Kwame Nas, which is going against Deion James in the main event tonight for a special attraction match. One half of the tag team champions versus the heavyweight champion. And the announcer asked Kwame, he said, "Why isn't this for the title?" Kwame really didn't have anything to say. He's like, "That's a good question. Why isn't this for the title? I would love to hold 2 championships." Entered Deion James, and he's like, "Yo, you want a shot of this?" "Absolutely." Well, it's on. So the main event tonight is for the AWA Florida. Sorry, the SCW Florida Heavyweight Championship. Going right into the matches, we have the first contest of the night with Chris Ramirez with his manager, Mistress Lilith, taking on Cisco Sucio. Nice opening match to get the crowd riled up, give them a little bit of a little shot in the arm to say, "Hey, wake up. It's time for some professional wrestling, baby." A lot of corner work, a lot of throwing each other into the corner, a lot of shoulder strikes, a lot of, just a classic match to start off the night, just to kind of ease the crowd into, hey, you need to pay attention. We have some action in the ring. I don't have a lot of notes down for this match. I mean, not a lot of action, took place. A lot of headlocks, collar and elbow tie up. Just the classic wrestling stuff. Cisco comes out on top, hitting a famouser for the win. Then we're on to the second match. We have the Team Vision Dojo Rookie Champion, Kaya Dream, going one-on-one with the Orlando Women's Champion, Amber Nova. Kaya Dream, first woman rookie champion. I was actually at the last match where she beat Christian Mills to be the new champion. So that was pretty cool to see. she's new around the block, and, being the rookie champion. Which you can tell, she had a few little stutter steps in this match against Nova. Nothing too bad. Off a hair. It wasn't the smoothest match, but it wasn't the worst thing I've ever witnessed by any means of stretch of imagination. Amber Nova's legit. Daughter of a mechanic. She has the whole, gimmick down. It's pretty neat. Come out with the trucker hat and checker flags. She has a dirty mechanic's cloth hanging off her side. Yeah, it is pretty cool. She actually drives a Nova automobile. So the whole thing goes full circle. She has a couple funny little catchphrases. The finisher, the Nova drive. And time for a tune-up. She said that twice in the match, and that got a chuckle out of me. The first time was when she was getting ready to just getting revved up on her moveset, and then she said it again, right before the end. So that's a pretty cool little thing. I enjoy the time for the tune-up line. A few innovative moves. One, Amber Nova was on the top rope, and she put Dream in leg scissors, then kind of fell down and went underneath her legs, and then Dream's head bounced off the turnbuckle. And it was a nice, smooth transition, too. And it looked really solid. So that was a pretty cool little move that I had written down. A few, like I said, little kinks throughout the match. The main event, or the finish, was a springboard stunner. Nova didn't quite get all of it, but it was enough to secure the victory. 1, 2, 3. The Orlando Women's Champion, Amber Nova, gets her hand raised at the end of the match. Coming in at match number 3, Upgrade. Mike Reed taking on Nick Quinones. There's no T in there. Nick Quinones. Mike Reed, veteran. He's been around 16 years. He was supposed to be at the first show I went to, but he was actually called away to be an extra on SmackDown that night. Like I said, he's known as the Upgrade. Mike Reed is pretty cool. He on his trunk says Next Level, and it's NXT LVL. It's a little shout out being down here in Orlando. A little NXT shout out was pretty funny. Old Nick Quinones, he must be really fresh. He just had on his regular Team Dojo shirts and basketball shorts. Nothing spectacular. So he's probably just fresh, one of the rookies there at the dojo. That's a lot of these shows, it's usually a veteran or a coach will take on a new person, a rookie, or lack of a better term. Wasn't like too bad of a match, a few little, classic wrestling matches or wrestling maneuvers. Old Mike Reed, when Nick was on the ground, the few of the crowd members would be chanting for Nick, he would pick his arm up and wave it. Here, wave at your fans. Classic bad guy stuff. Nick had a few solid maneuvers. Standing frog splash, that was pretty solid. His clotheslines were just the rock. Boom. And it was skin on skin. There wasn't no, leg slapping or any other extra sounds being made. He was just rocking Mike Reed with a couple solid clotheslines back to back. Reed likes to throw in a little bit of comedy wrestling in there. There's a time like he raised up Nick's shirt, like to act like he's gonna slap him, then he twists his nipples and that sort of stuff, which I don't know, I'd rather see a nice chop than something as hokey as a nipple twist. But that's just the traditionalist in me, I guess. Not a bad matchup. It's back and forth. We had a little eye rake to a roll-up finish with the veteran Mike Reed getting the W over Nick Quinones. Match number 4. We have a tag partners. Casey Lennox and Aaron Epic come to the ring. They come out, so they had a couple opponents lined up, but they wasn't able to make it. So Aaron Epic lined up a match for Casey Lennox, an exhibition, and he said, "You'll be taking on myself." And Casey's like, "No, I don't. Well, I don't want to wrestle you." He's like, "Well, too bad." He said, "We're going to." So she started to get out of the ring, and he's like, "Oh, so you're the loser?" She's like, No, I'm not a loser." He said, "Well, get in the ring, and then let him start the match, and you can leave, and I'll take this victory." And she's like, "Oh, no chance that's going to happen." So she gets back in, and we have a match. Casey Lennox versus Aaron Epic. During the entrance, it's pretty funny. Casey's a very attractive female. She gets up on the rope to show off her behind, but Epic will stand in front of her when someone's trying to take a picture, so he, won't let him take a picture of her booty, which is a pretty funny little thing they have. They've done that every time I've watched them so far. So we have tag partners going 1-on-1. Aaron Epic, he does a few of those little silly comedy spots as well. He had a wet willy in there at one point in time. He's a veteran. He's been at it for 18 years. And he's one of the trainers down there. He actually trained Casey Lennox. So we have a trainer versus student match as well as a tag partner match. Epic just gave Lennox just a hard kick right in her behind. And she was like, "Oh, man." And kind of rolled in the corner. She was kind of sitting there holding her rump. Epic came over to pick her up, and she's like, "Oh, hold on, that really hurt." So what did he do? Lift her up, chopped her. She fell down, kind of hanging over the second rope. He kicks the second rope, jaws her chin a little bit, so she goes flying back, and then he gives her 2 swift kicks right in the lower back. And I'm like, whew, that little series of moves he just did was just brutal. It just boom, 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 and they were solid too. The kicks to the back, whew, they were thuds. One thing about Epic, he loves slapping that thigh. That's one thing I noticed. all these matches, which I don't mind it. It gives a little more sound and a little more oomph, to certain moves, gives them more impactful sound, even though, they are contacting. It just gives them just a little more, to do. Casey Lennox, she had a very sweet middle rope DDT. She had a few offensive maneuvers throughout this match that were pretty solid. Epic pretty much laid it on her the whole time until the very end, until she was able to get like a few of her moves off. Epic went for a package pile driver. She was able to reverse it for a roll-up. 1, 2, 3, winner, Casey Lennox. Afterwards, someone in the crowd was like, you got beat by a woman. Epic grabbed the mic and he said, hey, who said that? He said, in this day and age, I got beat by the better athlete, not the better gender. You need to get it right. And then he rolled out of the ring. Which, with Impact having a female women's champion, and I see a lot of intergender match ups here on the indie scene, so he's 100% right on that front. The better athlete will take over every single time. Match number 5. One half of the SCW Florida Tag Team Champions, Josh Dawkins, takes on the SCW Florida Cruiserweight Champion, Jason Rance. Beforehand, we have an interview with Dawkins. Your tag partner has a chance to become double champion, so what do you think about that? And he's like, hey, I wish him the best, but I have a chance to become double champion as well. So let's bring the Cruiserweight champion out here. Out Mosey's out. Jason giving an interview on the phone for a podcast. Coming out all nonchalant. And usually, they're faking talking on the phone or whatever, and he hits speaker, and there's actually some dude on there asking questions. So that was pretty cool. It was only being 20 people. It was quiet in there at times. People were just sitting on their hands, just watching a match. So you could hear the guy talking on there. Someone in the crowd was like, what are you doing, ordering a pizza? Every now and then, someone in the crowd will pop me a little bit. Usually I just kind of don't even listen to the crowd, but it's a few little shout-outs here that was pretty funny throughout the night. Josh Dawkins, high flyer. Some nice little move set. I enjoyed what he was doing in there. They had nice chemistry together. Jason Rance. One thing about him, he's the head trainer down there at the Team Vision Dojo. He knows how to turn on that intensity like there's no other. He is playing around, having fun with old Dawkins, doing some traditional wrestling and all that sort of jazz. Then Dawkins kind of turned on him a little bit, went face first straight down on the canvas, woke him up a little bit, and then he just come up like a ball of fire, just going straight at Dawkins, no holds barred after that. Had an abdominal stretch in there. That's a move I rarely see anymore in this day and age. Some absolutely killer chops back and forth between the two. Had Jason hitting a backbreaker and then putting pressure on the chest and the legs to turn it into a submission. You don't see that a lot in this day and age anymore. With that being said, Jason Rance, 20-year veteran. Like the guys in the last few matches, it's a a veteran versus a rookie. So they're just out there just trying their best to, show these young guys what's up. It was a nice little back and forth, matchup. Both of them getting in shots. I think Rance had the upper hand there for the most of it. I thought Dawkins was going to take the W from the progression of the match, but Jason had a move by the ropes. Referee was positioned looking the other way, hand on the second rope, and we had the victory. Hey, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, as Jesse Ventura used to say. Post-match, Rance gets on the mic and say, hey, give it up for Dawkins. We have a lot of stuff happening here in the next month or two. We're moving to the new facility. Going on this, going on about that. Then here comes Amber Nova. And she's like, oh, I see that you had to cheat to get that victory. And he's like, oh, no, I don't know about that. I could have beat him at any time. I was just having a nice match. And she's like, uh-huh. She's like, well, I remember I've beat you for that championship before. And he's like, oh, that was during a weekend where I had like 25 matches. You might have beat me. I really don't remember. And she's like, well, how about you put it online this Friday for the next upcoming show? So I was supposed to have a match with Ali Muhammad, but if you really want to get a crack at this title, I can push that match back and we'll go one-on-one this Friday. So we have one of the matches set up for the next show happening. So we get that segment out of the way, and next up, match number 6. We have Christian Mills and Blake Banks taking on Brian Atomic and Teddy Hart. I didn't know anything about Teddy. It was announced a day or so prior on social media. I wasn't in tune with it, so I was completely taken back by Teddy Hart being there. I haven't watched him since I was out in Vegas for Double or Nothing weekend back in May. And Teddy Hart's very legit in my opinion, so it was very cool seeing him there. Yeah, so the guys are in the ring, and here comes Brian Atomic's out there bebopping around. And then they announce Teddy Hart, and everybody's just kind of looking there, and here he comes strolling in the front door. Not even coming through the curtain. He just comes walking in the front door with a cat in tow, of course. So no one was really, everybody was kind of looking at the curtain waiting for him to come out, and then here he is popping up behind everybody. So everybody he comes in shaking hands and stuff, and everybody's like, yeah. I was like, all right, very sweet. This is awesome. I'm loving this. So he moseys onto the ring, puts the cat up on the top turnbuckle, and he has 2 chains on, so he's taking off his chains, and he's getting ready to wrestle, and takes a few pictures with the cat and hands the feline off. Old Banks is like, why is there a cat in here for? And he's like, hey, this cat has bigger balls than you do. that was the whole the joke of the whole match was around testicles. It was pretty funny. But that's what started it, was that cat ball joke. Ooh, but Teddy Hart, man, he was in there just putting on a clinic with these boys. It was awesome. He was stretching them like no other, showing them some stuff from the dungeon. Pulled out a clover leaf, Oh, and he was just doing stuff that was, even at one point in time, old Christian Mills was like, "Is this even a move he's doing to me?" Because he was just twisting his arms all around, picking him up, slamming him down, doing this, that, and the other thing. It was wild. It was pretty cool to see. Even when he tagged in Brian Atomic, he was being a coach from the corner, saying, "Hey, grab that leg, grab that ankle." He was coaching him along as he was doing his thing in there. So that was, another thing pretty cool. I mean, Teddy Hart, I don't think it gets much better, because he's he's been around the business, 20 plus years as well. So it's just pretty cool when these vets come in and try to help these younger guys, especially someone of Teddy Hart's caliber. Blake Banks, he had a funny little jabs at Teddy Hart's expense. Like, he walked over by him as he was on the outside of the ropes, and he's like, "Oh, are you respecting the drip?" And Teddy Hart's just kind of just looking at him, and he's like, "What are you even wearing? What is that? Lizard skin and cheetah print? Why don't you pick an animal?" Yeah, that was a pretty good one. That one, I had a chuckle. Teddy Hart didn't really have anything to say. He tried, he was trying to get something out, but he just let that one slide. But he probably got him back later on by putting on some kind of move. Actually, I think he was the one, he hit one of his signature moves on him. So I'll talk about that here in a second. When he was stretching Christian Mills, Banks was like, "Hey, he has a bad knee, watch out." And he's like, "Why did he have a knee for? Why does he have a bad knee? Why is he always on him?" And then Teddy Hart gets down on all fours and, acts like he's giving a blowjob. And it's just funny little things like that, And the Banks started yelling at like a kid in the crowd, and Teddy Hart's like, "Yo, be nice to the kids." And he's like, "You're the one that's talking about giving blowjobs." He's like, "Hey, that's all right. You don't need to be mean to him." I enjoy that sort of banter between people. The move I was talking about, Teddy Hart was able to give a slingshot moonsault, or also known as an Arabian press moonsault, off the top rope, or bouncing off the top rope to Banks. And then he was able to hit a lung blower to a Death Valley driver to pick up the finish. So winner, Brian Atomic, and Teddy Hart. Post-match, you have Teddy Hart jumping on the microphone. He gave a nice little inspirational speech, saying, "Hey, follow your dreams. I'm happy to be in the business. I get to entertain you fans. Make sure you do what you want." And, it kind of riled me up a little bit. I was like, yeah, absolutely, this is pretty cool. And he went on for probably about 4 or 5 minutes, just, saying stuff. If you watch any of his interviews or anything like that, he's a very positive individual. So it's pretty neat, listening to him go on and on. That's at the end of it. He's like, "Thanks for listening to my rant." And hand the microphone to some dude in the crowd and kind of just walked off. Teddy Hart doing Teddy Hart things. But that was a very awesome surprise. Like I said, they announced it, but I didn't catch it. So I was like, very cool. This is neat to see. Teddy Hart, if you're not familiar, check him out on YouTube because he does some killer stuff. Now we're off to the main event with one half of the AWA Florida Tag Team Champions, Kwame Nas, going one-on-one with the SCW Florida Heavyweight Champion, Dion James. James is just a powerhouse. 6'5", 317, just a monster in there. Kwame Nas has some size on him as well, but he doesn't stack up as much as the powerhouse Deion James. A few little collar and elbow tie-ups, a few little offensive moves on Kwame's part. He's able to get a swanton bomb in, a few shoulder checks in the corner, a few drop kicks, but just you couldn't slow the machine that is Deion James down. He was able to hit him with a flapjack, fall away slam. Even though Deion James has only been in it for 2 years, he looks like he's very he has a nice ring presence. He's very fluid in the ring. He knows what he's doing in there. Even though it's a powerhouse moveset, with the throwing around his other opponent, he's pretty good in there. Whipping him into the ropes, running off the other ropes, spear, jackhammer. We have Kwame Nas kicking out. Kicking out of a jackhammer. Picked him up. Second jackhammer. 1, 2, 3. Victory. The SCW Florida heavyweight champion, Deion James. From top to bottom, I enjoyed every match here. There wasn't one that was kind of a stinker, because normally you have one of those snoozer matchups, and all these were all pretty solid. They kept my attention for every single one of them. The night, of course, Teddy Hart just does crazy things in there. It's awesome seeing him. The rookies around him, the competitors, Blake Banks and Christian Mills and Brian Atomic, they all did a great job. So that was my match of the night. Coming up, depending on when you're listening to this, the next show's Friday, February 7th, which should be later tonight, when you're tuning in. We have the Florida heavyweight champion, Deion James, defending against Jay Sky. Florida Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way Elimination match. The Rookie Championship being defended from Kaya Dream, taking on Blake Banks. Those two B's. Aaron Epic and Casey Lennox going against Sophia and the mystery partner. I watched Sophia that first match. That first time I went to one of their events, and I think she has some of the biggest potential out of everybody at this promotion. So I'm excited to see her. And then we have Brian Atomic going one-on-one with Christian Mills. A little bad blood seeping over from the tag match for tonight. So that's a nice little setup there. I'm excited to see what that match has to offer. They usually put on a good show, so we'll see what's up during the event on Friday. So outside of that, second review in the books, baby. So if you like what you're listening to, and we're just getting started here, so support us any way you can. Go follow on social media. We're at Fan in a Van Pod on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to follow my personal account, I'm at the Big Albowski, BIGGALBOWSKI. I really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for listening. We're trying to get this thing off the ground. We have tons of ideas happening. We have a Patreon out there that I started up. I had someone ask about it, so I went ahead and got one of those up and running. Patreon Fan in a Van. All the tiers on there have, different things that can happen. Like, you can look at my list of events and pick out what show I want to do next. Get a postcard sent to you from wherever I'm being a nomad at that day or that month. And a few other cool little things. Get a shout out on the pod. A few other little incentives to help out, keep the show going. And just keep the train on the tracks. So with all that being said, like I said, we have another show happening on Friday. So that should be dropping in on Monday. I'm going to try Mondays and Fridays at noon is when the shows are going to come out. And then we're going to get a past event here pretty soon. I'll probably start off with my first event I went to. March 7th, 1998, WCW House Show. Like I said, I've been watching these things for going on 22 years next month. So, on my birthday, March 7th, was when I went to my first show. So, we have 98 to 2020, 22 anniversary, 22-year anniversary going to live events. And there's actually a show on the 7th, so I'm pumped to watch wrestling on my birthday. So that's going to be awesome. So thanks for joining. Thanks for listening in. We have another show dropping on Monday with another I Believe in Wrestling review. And then we're going to go back in the annals of my wrestling past and start getting into some other shows. And we have other things happening too. I'm going to talk about some baseball games I've been to, some hockey games, and some other events and attractions. So it's not going to be all wrestling. I want to throw in some other stuff, some hikes I've been on when I went out west. I'm going to get into the whole nomad stuff that I'm into, because not a lot of people that personally know me, knows what I'm into. So I need to do a whole episode on my lifestyle, because I'm just not some nerd out here watching wrestling, which I am. But, the fan in the van, we're just not a wrestling fan. We're just a sports entertainment. Is a fan in general of life. So be looking out for that one. That will probably be hitting next Friday, more than likely, if I don't do the past episode like I'm planning on doing. So, but we'll see. Hey, we have all the time in the world, as long as I'm still walking and as long as we're still chugging along. We're going to put out an episode, baby. We have plenty to talk about, so we don't need to get ahead of ourselves here. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate you listening. And always remember, we'll see you in the cheap seats. Rats off to you. Hey, don't forget, new episodes dropping every Monday and Friday at noon on your favorite podcast platform, also on YouTube. Make sure you follow us for all the latest information on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you can find us at Fan in a Van Pod.